Collaborative design is about working with people, not for people. In collaborative design, we seek to build our capacity to respect people, communities, and the land and waters on which we are situated. We acknowledge that today's ecological issues cannot be addressed by one discipline alone. To create a world in which we can all thrive, designers are collaborating with advocates for social and environmental justice, scientists, engineers, artists, writers, and other designers. Through design, we materialise our priorities and determine the future that we want. Everyone who enrolls in the Bachelor of Design will begin their studies with collaborative design. This common semester will equip you with foundational skills relevant to design and beyond. I'm Wendy Ellerton and I'm the Program Director of Collaborative Design. I'll focus specifically on collaborative design so I don't repeat content covered by Jean Borden and the other specialisation directors. Collaborative design is a distinct and complementary area of study, so details already covered about studying abroad, electives and career pathways will likely be applicable here. The staff that teach into this unit have a range of design backgrounds. We're practicing designers traversing the fields of spatial, communication, industrial and collaborative design. Many of us are multidisciplinary practitioners, so collectively our practices are diverse. We transform space, whether it be at small or large scales. We create visual matter that is still and moving, and we design across dimensions. I'll begin by showing you what collaborative design looked like this year, and keep in mind that this unit was offered entirely online, so you'll see the virtual way in which we created community, collaboration and conversations. Then I'll touch on collaborative design 4 and 5, which you can select in the final year of your degree. We recognise that each of you comes to MATA with very different experiences. Some of you are from high school and other institutions. You may be enrolled in single or double degrees, be from cognate or non-cognate backgrounds. So to foster an environment where everyone can excel, we have built a highly scaffolded program. This is a challenging program, but it's both able to support and push students regardless of their prior experience. We're looking forward to making together in physical spaces next year, but platforms like YouTube and Instagram aren't going away just yet. We will continue to use emerging technologies when it's fit for purpose. Delivery of this unit will continue to use blended learning beyond the pandemic. So prior to class, you'll be watching videos, making, writing and reading. Blended delivery frees up time and space to delve deeper into content during class. Our time together on campus will be varied. There'll be small group work, making, whether it be digital or by hand, presentations and one-to-one consultations. Our first year unit consists of 2 major projects which are divided into a series of mini tasks. In both projects, process and outcome are tightly linked and often blurred. For example, a designed publication might document the story of making. People and Climate was the first project and it was split into 4 accessible tasks. This is an example of the first task, which was to create a speculative image using Photoshop. This conceptual task required students to visualise their thinking and learn the software. Subsequently, they went through a process of critique and concept refinement before submitting their wearable. For the duration of the project, students were posting their process to their design-specific Instagram accounts. You can see a lot of work under the hashtag #Col1001. Keep in mind there's over 12,000 posts, so you could be scrolling for a while. They also produced a triptych which demonstrated how the wearable performed. This task required students to extend their understanding of composition, Photoshop and Illustrator. They finally submitted a curated set of images that depicted the making of their wearable. The project theme, People and Climate, required students to make with the resources that they had on hand. These were recycled, recyclable, salvaged, or natural materials. To support the learning, we provide live demonstrations, templates, and technical videos. These varied modes of delivery help us to engage with different skill levels. Videos are also great as they allow students to learn at their own pace. Design is a very public practice and that's something we really embrace. Collaboration also requires one to practice with a sense of transparency. That's why we ask our students to continually share experiences through collective work in progress documents, Instagram, and in class. This creates opportunities for peer-to-peer learning in and outside the classroom. I'll quickly flick through some of the student work from this project, and you'll notice many of the examples relate to pressing issues. Here we see a design which explores coral bleaching. And to consolidate the overall project, I've bundled 3 of the 4 outcomes together here. I haven't included the Instagram post, but it's well worth looking up the hashtag #Col1001. It's fabulous to see how a single waste material might be transformed into a practical and dynamic garment. This mask was designed for young climate change activists to wear at protests. The removable horn doubles as a megaphone. The final image is a strong, singular proposition, and the paint technique is fitting for the context. Students are encouraged to think critically about materials. Does the design have a use-by date, and what happens in its afterlife? Dialogue around ethical design is something we try and embed in the curricula. How can design innovate? How can we be more efficient and economical? And how can we do no harm? Students receive formative feedback every week, so there's plenty of dialogue between staff and students. I'll flick back to the diagram I showed you at the beginning just to emphasise how staggered assessment tasks are. Each larger circle indicates a week, and the white dots represent submission weeks. You'll notice that the week following a submission, students receive formal summative feedback. This helps everyone to track their progress. Additionally, projects always finish with a project debrief. As we know, the learning from a project doesn't end once it's handed in. A lot of growth happens outside of the project timeline. So to support this, we conduct project debriefs that showcase and critique the work in relation to the brief and the design elements and principles. Reflection is a core component of learning, and this is modelled in the projects and the structure. The second project was called Place and Atmosphere. There was 3 parts to this project. The first was to create a 3-dimensional object of a place and capture the atmosphere of that place through a sequence of images, which they then laid out as an A2 poster. The students developed layouts that enhanced their place and atmosphere. Supporting the process, students undertook a range of experiments. Here we see the student designing a pattern in Illustrator before translating it to a pattern that could be cut out by hand or laser cut. They used their custom cut out patterns for a series of lighting experiments, which you can see here in the class work in progress document. Although the task is quite specific, it's exciting to observe how students apply these new skills independently, often unprompted, within their studio projects. Like the first project, our students are building their technical capabilities in Illustrator, InDesign and Photoshop, whilst also practicing subtle but critical skills in composition. The final aspect of the project is a publication design that captures the making of their place and atmosphere. Again, I'll flick through a few examples so you can see the diversity of responses we received and show you how our students and staff enhance learning through regular feedback, whether it be as comments in digital work in progress documents or in class discussion. This way of working introduces layers of transparency, collaboration, skill sharing, all of which contribute to the culture of the studio. Being privy to the making process allows everyone to see and better understand how results are actually achieved. The students generate a shared body of know-how as they progress through the semester. Learning technical skills is done through supported practice. Students watch streamlined technical demos before undertaking an activity or work in progress review. These demos provide an open platform to discuss any issues that arise. If students require extra assistance, they can request one-on-one consultation. In this way, our value as lecturers is clearer. We're able to carefully curate the content as it's needed, supplement the learning with existing resources, and provide bespoke guidance as required. I'll speed through some of the incredible work the students produce. Each has carefully considered both the layout of the poster and the supporting publication. The skills they require as designers moving forward are really integrated into the projects, sometimes so successfully they remain invisible to the viewer. A good designer, like a good athlete, makes their work seem effortless. Learning to use white space to assist with pacing and communication is incredibly difficult, but through practice we improve. The projects we've developed deliberately disrupt assumptions you might have about what design is and what design could be. They also give you a taste for a range of different skills, which may serve to open up new pathways for you in design. We hope that this is a varied and rich experience, and that if at the beginning of this unit you would set on being an industrial designer, that this experience either crystallises that for you or shifts your practice in a direction you had previously not considered, such as spatial design. Both are totally valid outcomes and won't necessarily disrupt your degree. Collaborative design is about building your capacity as a designer who can work with others. We guide you through creative processes that will push both your thinking and making skills. You'll see from student examples that we teach you both hand making and digital techniques. But what you can't see is the rich discourse that is involved within the process. The students produce such amazing work, I find it difficult to limit the number of works I show, but let's move on now to Collaborative Design 4 and 5, where we'll provide opportunities for work integrated learning. This is a term we use to describe learning activities that use your academic learning in real life situations with real industry or communities. We'll be partnering with different sectors, working across arts and culture to projects that have a specific focus on social impact. These units will run for the first time next year, so I don't have specific student projects to show, but I've included a few examples that demonstrate some level of co-design and work integrated learning. It's going to be really exciting. So how do designers work with people in the real world? This example of the XYX lab from MARTA worked with a large group of stakeholders to co-design what the Victorian Pride Centre should be. In this workshop, they shaped a new and shared story that impacts on everything from the spatial qualities of the building to its online presence. Other times, the students will work on live projects related to their studies. In this instance, a group of students designed the identities, signage, website and other collateral for their end-of-year graduate show. The following year, a new group of students gained experience with designing a range of collateral and installation for the on-campus open day at Monash. It involved motion, image making, t-shirts, posters and a pop-up bar celebrating opportunities MARTA offers with regards to studying abroad. Seeing the work our students can achieve both here and abroad is really inspiring. The process of collaboration can be challenging, but hearing and seeing the students describe their experience is quite something. For instance, this interdisciplinary group worked together to design and install these illuminated lights in the foyer of the design building at Caulfield. But as soon as we can, we'll be looking at how we might work with communities, and in particular with the traditional owners of the land, the people of the Kulin Nation. And potentially we might be able to work with Indigenous communities in other parts of the world. Working with people in real life settings is transformative for our students. A particular favourite of mine is this exhibition opening invite for Diego Marcon. This was completed with a small group of students in Milan, Italy. They worked with both the artists and printers to realise this unconventional piece of printed matter. At the end of 2021, our first cohort of students will graduate with a specialisation in collaborative design. They'll be agile, innovative practitioners able to adapt to change and uncertainty, and that's a practitioner equipped with the skills needed to thrive both now and in the future. Collaboration is the future of work, and collaboration is a global challenge. It's complex work that often requires a change in our mindset and behaviour. It's about mutual learning, where we collectively practice with a sense of responsibility, generosity, humility and reciprocity. It requires us to believe that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Thank you, and hopefully I get to meet you soon.